Now, tax is a big talking point in this election, and particularly when it comes to pensions. All gets very complicated, though. Should state pensions be taxed? Well, they're going to fall into the threshold. It all gets very complicated. It looks like, obviously, with this triple lock plus, the Conservatives say, well, we're not going to tax your state pension at all. Labour, well, it looks like it could happen.
Well, let's get the thoughts of political commentator with Young Voices UK, Jack Rowlett, who thinks pensions should not be protected, and former Minister of State for Europe, Denis McShane, who thinks that we should. Jack, let's start with you, shall we? So you think pensions should not be immune from tax rates?
Well, the UK's public finances are in an absolute state. Debt to GDP is on course for a 100% ratio in the near future. And Labour and the Tories are going into this election pledging not to raise income tax, national insurance or VAT. And the current spending plans, the current fiscal framework that's in place, therefore implies a number of cuts to unprotected departments across the board. So any incoming government needs to be looking at different sources of revenue that it can raise. And actually, if we're looking at, for example, the 25% tax-free lump sum that you can withdraw from a pension, in an aging society where an increasing number of people are retiring every year, policies like that become increasingly unaffordable. And so actually we need to be doing what other countries are doing. We need to be having a more sustainable approach on this. For example, in America, where support is more targeted at lower income pensioners rather than applying these carve-outs across the board, and absolutely keeping exemptions that encourage people putting money into their pensions in the first place. But by the time you're withdrawing money from those pensions, it doesn't seem fair to be treating income differently purely based on your age.
Denis, what do you make of it all?
I'm slightly confused in the sense that obviously I'm a pensioner and I pay tax on all of my income, including the pension. What worries me is a report out just 6 weeks ago saying that just shy of 1 million British pensioners live in a state of deprivation. Well, here's a pension of poverty. This is something worse. They're deprived the income to buy the right food, the right medicines, a holiday, a bit of a break, or whatever. And that's all happened on the Tory watch, especially the Rishi Sunak watch, because he's so rich himself. He's utterly out of touch with the way most people live. Now, all I can say is that I've seen Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer, Bridget Phillipson, everybody, Dan Jones, swear on their mother's milk and worse that they're not going to raise taxes. They may be forced to, but my goodness, they'll be a mother and father of all rows, and it will not be a good way of starting any government to suddenly reverse ferret on something you've made such a big fuss of promising you won't do.
Jack, what do you make of that?
Well, I think, Denis raises the point of those pensioners in deprivation, which I agree is a disgrace. But actually, that makes the case even more for saying we shouldn't have these universal tax exemptions across the board. Actually, you should be targeting tax at those pensioners who are wealthier, precisely so you can provide more support to those pensioners who are in genuine need because they can't afford food or basic living costs.
Yeah, but
I think
To be fair, Jack, I mean, we're talking as though people don't pay tax on their pensions.
Yes.
I mean, of course they do.
No, but
they're already paying a lot of tax on their...
Yes.
But, I mean, some people, if they're well off already, are paying 40% tax on their pension.
Yes, I mean, I'm the pensioner representative here, I suppose. And I'm sorry, yes, I pay just as much tax as when I was at work.
Yeah, but the controversy yesterday was over Labour's refusal to rule out abolishing the 25% tax-free lump sum that you can withdraw from your pension. And it's the discussion over whether we should abolish that that I think is really important.
And actually, if you're... Jack, what was that in? The Daily Express, a paper like that? I'd be serious.
Well, no, it was Bridget Phillipson, I believe, refusing to rule it out. A week after the election, you're going to be putting Rachel Reeves or anybody. I mean, these things have been fine-tuned, fine-honed, fine-debated, fine-butter-patted for the last year. And suddenly somebody comes up and says, will you guarantee not to do this before an election? Not going to happen. Will Rishi Sunak guarantee he won't give any more peerages to people who give lots of money to the Tory party? No. I mean, when did you stop beating your wife?
I mean, the issue here, Jack, really, and what they've been debating about is about the state pension and whether pensioners should be exempt from paying any tax on that. But that's all to do with the thresholds, which this government froze anyway.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So workers have been getting a raw deal as well. I really think the amount of tax you pay should be dependent upon your wealth and how much income you have coming in to your household or to yourself every month. It shouldn't be based on your age. In a society where you have more and more people of old age, it becomes increasingly unsustainable to have these carve-outs, whether it's the 25% tax-free lump sum, whether it's, Sunak's proposed policy of, the triple lock plus. That isn't sustainable in a society where the dependency ratio is rising all the time, because meaning that workers have to foot the bill more and more, which means they can't afford to save for their retirement. And so they're going to become more of a burden on the state later down the line.
Jack, if I may, you mixed up two completely separate categories, wealth and income. Income tax is based on the income you have. A wealth tax we don't really have in this country. They do in many other countries. It's quite serious. It's called a general contribution of solidarity. It's in Germany, it's in France, other countries, and it's based, on 1% of all your wealth. Now, that would be controversial. Maybe it would be a good idea. Maybe it will arise. It's certainly not an offer at the moment. So, but please don't talk about wealth and income. They're two.
Okay, gentlemen, we are out of time, I'm afraid. Thank you very much, Dennis McShane and Jack Rowlett. Good to see you both this morning. Thank you very much.